Thanks for staying with us on this segment of Visions. Excited to talk with our guest on this portion of Visions, Douglas Watson, the Executive Director of the John Maxwell Team in the local area. And so we're excited to talk with him about leadership development. Mr. Watson, thanks for being with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, you know, we had you here just a little while ago, and we wanted to invite you back so we could talk some more about this very important subject. So as a certified member of the John Maxwell Team, you know, what do you do in that capacity?
As a certified member, I'm qualified to teach, train, facilitate, coach individuals and groups, organizations, companies in the area of professional growth and leadership development. Of course, we always say leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. And an organization can only grow as high as the leader of the leader. So our job is to go in and raise the leader of the leader, and in return, raise the influence of the leader. And in turn, that will help them, help the organization grow, help its employees grow, and ultimately, it's to increase the productivity and efficiency in operation.
That's good. That's good. Well, one of the things that you wanted to talk about today is, I guess, one of the best-selling books that Dr. Maxwell has written on the subject is called "The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership."
Well, it's the #1 leadership book written in the world. I think they've sold over 3 million copies. It's been translated into 57 languages around the world. And so it's kind of like the Bible of leadership, leadership development. John is a true believer in leadership, and he's into his later years now, and his whole vision is to have transformational leaders.
Okay.
To be able to transform individuals, which will in turn transform the world. And we've actually gone into several countries, Paraguay, Guatemala, Costa Rica is next, where we're going in and teach the people of those countries to transform their lives through leadership development.
Okay. All right. Well, it's really good, and we've got a copy of the book so that people can see what we're talking about. So when they go into the bookstores, they'll be able to see what it looks like. And so it's a classic. It's a classic.
The #1, the first law in the law of 21 laws of leadership is the law of the lead. And as I said, the organization can only grow as high as the leader of the leader. But I also like to talk about the last law, which is the law of legacy.
Okay.
And it's kind of like beginning with the end in mind. What do you want your legacy to be? And if you don't pick it, someone else will. And we like to use the analogy that few people like to talk about is what are they going to say at your funeral? What are they going to say at the end of your tenure at a job? What are they going to say when you leave? Are they going to talk about some of the things that you've done, or are they going to talk about how you help people? And leaving your legacy actually means how many people have you helped along the way? Not so much how much money you left or how many buildings you have, or all those things are great. But true legacy, the only thing that's going to be timeless is how we have influenced people along the way. And the laws of leadership, people often ask, why do you call them laws? They're laws because it's like any law. If you violate the law, then there are certain consequences. The laws are timeless. They're not limited to a particular race, color, creed. They're not limited to a country. They're the laws. I liken it to driving down the interstate, and you don't know the speed limit. You know, you go to different cities and stuff, speed limit changes. And if you get pulled over, you know, the officer's not gonna, you're gonna say, well, I didn't know the law. Well, it doesn't matter if you know the law or not. If you violate the law, there are consequences. And that's what the laws are about. They're a guide, tried and proven methods that will guide each of us to improve our professional life, our leadership life, and in turn improve our organizations or our companies that we work for or work with.
Well, and one of the principles that we're used to hearing from Dr. Maxwell, and we've talked about this before, is that everything rises and falls on leadership.
Everything rises and falls on leadership. And you can look at our country now, or you can look at our government, and as the leader goes, so goes the organization. A classic example is in the area of sports. When the team is not doing well, they change the leader. They don't change, they may trade people here and there, but you know, some recent stuff in the SEC, teams not winning, they change the leader. And so some organizations, when they bring in a new leader, the first thing they do is clean house. They get rid of all the old leaders because they didn't work. And so leadership is very important in moving the organization forward. You know, we don't spend enough time developing our leadership skills. You know, a lot of times we go on what we've learned over time, and if we don't continue, it's just like any other skill. If you don't continue to practice it and get better at it, then we kind of reach a plateau. You know.
Well, now on this topic of leadership, and as you are a certified member of the John Maxwell Team, so you, just so we can interject here, people can call you, and you're able to come and share and consult with them about this subject.
That is correct. We have a couple of different methods of doing it. Sometimes I'm called to just do a speak. I speak for 45 minutes or so on a certain topic on leadership. We often do what we call mastermind groups, where we have a group of 5 to 12 people to come together. We'll talk about the laws of leadership or the laws of growth. And typically those mastermind groups last anywhere from 5 to 10 weeks. You know, we meet together either virtual or we meet together in person for an hour and a half once a week. And we do what we call a deep dive into the laws and to the principles that back those laws. It's like going to, I won't say going to school, because a lot of people don't like going to school, but you can read a book, but if you don't flesh it out and learn to practice some of the stuff in the book, then it doesn't do you any good. And that's where we come in. We have tried and proved methods to help people, flesh out the contents of the book. We also have tried and proven techniques that would help people to apply what we've learned through the course of the lessons and stuff.
Well, I think one of your classes that you're doing, I think you're doing it for the Chamber of Commerce coming up soon.
Right. We're actually going to host 3. We're going to do what we call a lunch and learn. So it's a free lesson. October, it's November the 9th. We're going to do Everyone Communicates and Few Connect. We all need to learn how to connect with people better. In December, we're going to do the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. And then in January, we're going to actually flush out the 21 Laws of Leadership. It's going to, we're hosted at the Business Resource Center at 600 South Court Street. And for a limited time, and I think we have some information on that, we're going to also do some free training and teaching for organizations in the area who reach out to us.
Okay.
Kind of like our way of giving back to the community, but also showing people what we actually have to offer.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's great. Well, when we talk about the laws of leadership, we talk about laws. Why are they called laws?
They're timeless. They're not limited to a, like I said, they're not limited to a city, country. They apply independent of each other. You don't have to know one law. You don't have to practice one law in order to practice another law. If you violate the laws, there are consequences. If you live by the law, there are benefits. And they've been around for a long time, except we had to kind of flush them out and define them. They're not something that he just kind of pulled out of his top of his head. These are things that John Maxwell has studied and taught leadership over 40 years. Years ago the big thing was management and then there was leadership, and there have been different styles of leadership. There leaders by title. Some people think because they have a title they're leaders, right, and they're just a title holder. A true leader leads leaders. You can lead followers, and we call that addition. You can add by leading followers. You can multiply when you teach leaders.
One of the points I wanted to make that you wrote on your notes to us is that you said a law must work well in every culture, with every gender, at every time, all the time.
All the time, and that's why I said they're timeless. It's not limited to if the book has been written in 57 languages, they transcended the language barrier.
Well, I like that. So 57 languages is quite a lot. We want to show this book once again for people who might be watching it who may want to go out to the store to get that. Please feel free to go to almost any bookstore.
Amazon.
Because I think you told me he's got about 100 books.
He's written 100 books, sold 26 million copies of different books.
Right.
And he's always fleshing out new material, One thing we believe that sometimes we think we can just read one book or read one topic and study up on it, and leadership doesn't happen, in one day. We're in an age of we want microwave leadership. Leadership is developed daily. You get out what you put in. If you don't put anything in, you get very little out. I've gone through different phases in my life. I think we have both been in business for the years we've been in business. And there's some tried and proven methods that have worked and some that didn't work. The great thing about studying and evaluating what we do is, we learn over time what works and what doesn't work. And when you learn from what we call a guru of leadership, you really get a chance to dig deep into what works and what doesn't work. Eliminating the trial and error.
That's good.
And based on the laws that we live by, and it makes things a lot simpler and a lot more effective, a lot more efficient.
That's good. That's good. Well, a lot of people have put in the work to remove the kinks and the issues, and so no need to reinvent the wheel is what you said.
That's correct.
Basically. Well, now when people call you about your training, is it a one day, is it a seminar? How does it work normally?
We provide one day training. We'll call that teaching, or we'll do like I said, a 5-week up to a 10-week mastermind group. Sometimes I'm called on to do just a speaking engagement that we're talking a particular topic that someone asked us to talk on. We've also got into doing virtual training. In this day where everybody's busy, people don't have the time or won't take the time to invest in themselves. We have some virtual training, and the great thing about it is not a webinar. It's basically a dial-in, and we do a lot of that with the John Maxwell team. And when you dial in, I control the calls and the flow of the conversation, and it usually takes about an hour and a half, and people get a chance to interact. And you can do it in the privacy of your home. I oftentimes have my headset on with my phone. I'm still doing other things around the house. I have to sit down and kind of engage, but I don't have to dress up. I don't have to, get dressed up to go to the training. I can do it right in the privacy of my home.
Excellent. All right, well, that is great. Now, people can call you at the number that's on the screen that they've been seeing as you've been talking. If they want to come by that session that you're going to do at the chamber here shortly. And so we want to say thanks, Mr. Watson, for coming to be with us on the program. I always enjoy it because I love the subject of leadership with Dr. Maxwell. And so that's going to do it for us on this segment of Visions. Douglas Watson, the John Maxwell team, and we'll see you next time.